Hey, welcome back. It is my favorite time of the year, and that is peach season. Our peach trees are loaded up this year. Not as much as last year, thankfully. Here's a good one. Oh, there's nothing like peaches. Still warm. I gotta go, but just wanted to show you my peaches. Hey, kiddo. Hey, kiddo. And here is the pond today. You guys love seeing the pond clips. So forgive any kind of surface algae that's gotten stirred up. I went swimming today, and that always stirs a little bit of the bottom stuff up. It'll get dragged over the outfall, and it'll end up in the lower wetland area. You can see it's just a little nature paradise here. All the wild planting focusing on beneficial insect attractors, not just ornamental. You can see insects landing and feeding on all of this stuff. This summer's just been overbooked like crazy, but I want to check in every once in a while so you guys can see the food forest in the back and how it's developing. All right, they're free. We're trying something. The dogs are all locked inside, and we're gonna let the chickens out with this electric netting that's not currently electrified. No protection from above, and they could potentially fly out because their wings aren't clipped. So we want to have the dogs inside, and I'm just hoping this works out. I think it will, and it's like as long as I don't spook them, and then they can kind of come out here and they can get into this garden here so they can hide out in there if they want. Can go and eat all my strawberries and stuff, which I'm sure they'll do. But they can go and kind of reset this garden, get lots of browse in there, have fun climbing on all the little things that I put in there for them. And they can hopefully have a little bit of a fun life with a little more freedom and space. So this should be kind of fun. Just, I think as long as we don't spook them and they don't try to fly. So we've actually hired Jackson, and he's under dog duty. So his job is to make sure that the dogs cannot get out of the house. Because my only concern is that they get spooked and fly up over this fence. And they're used to me, and as long as I don't get too close to them, and I'm conscious of where they are and everything when I'm working around here, they shouldn't get spooked. They should just kind of waddle away. But if the dogs come charging out of here, then that could be it. And Lucy wants out. But this is really fun. This is really nice. So we're out here at the garden, and this behind me is Queen Anne's lace. I'm going to do a quick little ID guide on Queen Anne's lace because things in the carrot family can actually be so dangerous that they can kill you. So I leave these up in my garden in areas that I don't really care if they're there. They're actually fantastic pollinator food. Anything with this umbel shape is typically a really, really good pollinator attractor. And Queen Anne's lace is definitely no different. It's a fantastic plant for your garden. You'll get higher fruit yields off of your other plants if you do allow some of this to exist. And you help the insects out. Now the problem with Queen Anne's lace is that it's part of the carrot family, and there are many things in this family that could be really dangerous for you, whether it is giant hogweed, which is fairly easy to identify because it's giant, and cow parsnip and wild parsnip and water hemlock, so many different plants in this same family. And Queen Anne's lace is a useful plant, so it's good to know how to ID it. Now I'll go over the few ID signs that you want to be looking for, and then I'll give you like a little fun trick to remember it about actual Queen Anne, and this is kind of why it was named Queen Anne's lace. So the first thing is that you'll notice that it's kind of one big flower. And if you look at it, it's got an umbrella-shaped inflorescence. Now, depending on the time of season, there's actually a little purple or red prick right in the middle. And the way we remember this is that the flowers kind of almost look like lace. And the story was that when Queen Anne was quilting her lace, she pricked her finger and had a single drop of blood on the lace. So it's a good way to remember it. Okay, now another thing is that Queen Anne actually had hairy legs. And this is a fun way to remember that the stem on Queen Anne's lace should actually have hairs all down the side. And then lastly, if we actually get underneath the flower, we'll see that Queen Anne's lace, Queen Anne actually had a bunch of pikemen protecting her. So all these little flowers on the underside are protected by these little pike-shaped, prickly, maybe not prickly because they're soft, but these little pike-shaped underneath. Now, some of the more dangerous flowers that are kind of like Queen Anne's lace would be like a cow parsley or wild parsley, cow parsnip. And these will usually have like a starburst shape. It won't be just one single flower. It'll be a bunch of these kind of little flowers, but more in like a starburst. So one here, one there, one there. I'll get a picture of it because I don't actually have any here to film, but I'll get a picture of it so you'll know. And then the other thing you would be looking for is a smooth stem. And often some of the really nasty ones won't have solid green all the way down. There'll be little splotches of purple, and those are telltale signs to be really, really careful. And you wouldn't even want to handle it with your hands, because if you get some of the oil and sap from the plant onto your hands, you'll actually potentially develop really nasty blisters. And you know, some of the things that you can mis-ID in the carrot family are actually lethal. So the other thing you could do is kind of crack and break it, ideally cut it open. And if you ever see white pus coming out of something, it's a pretty good sign to avoid. Queen Anne's lace doesn't have any of this white pus, so it's good. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean a plant is poisonous. You're probably thinking about dandelions. They have that white pus. But in general, white pus, avoid. And even better, in general, carrot family, anything that looks like this, it's better to just avoid it and just not touch it, not deal with it at all. However, if you find these, very, very telltale signs, this little red flower in the middle, single flower, umbrella shaped umbel inflorescence, and then these little pikemen guarding, plus Queen Anne had hairy legs, then you can be pretty sure that you have Queen Anne's lace, which is wild carrot. But again, just one more time, it bears repeating. Anything in the carrot family, just be really careful, avoid it, don't handle it, and just, leave it be. Definitely don't eat it. So thanks for watching. Remember, leave your lawns wild as much as you can. The bees really, really need it. And consider leaving your gardens a bit wild too. If there's space that you can have some of these flowers for the insects, consider letting that happen. There's plenty of room to grow everything else. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.